Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. All right. I would just ask. It's happening as we speak. If you are a member of the board, please just make sure to note that next to your name. I believe the district office team has already taken care of that. But if they don't get you, please make sure to identify that you're a member of the board. Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank you for your patience. We're allowing just a couple of more minutes for a few more people to enter into the Zoom, and then we're going to begin the meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Yeah, I see the time is now 7:08 p.m. Dante, team, do we have anybody else in the waiting room waiting to get in?
No.
Okay, all right then. We are going to begin the meeting. Mia, if you're there, would I ask, would you be able to record the minutes for this evening?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, we are now calling this meeting to order. The time is now 7:09 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to our general board meeting, our December general board meeting, the final general board meeting for Community Board 9 for the year 2021. My name is Fred Baptiste. I serve as the chair of Community Board 9. It's my honor and privilege to have been able to work with all of you over this last year. Definitely a difficult year by any standard, but I'm thankful to see all your faces, and I'm thankful for all the work we've done previously. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, could you, Mr. Lewis is raising his hand. Is there an issue? Can you unmute Mr. Lewis? We can't hear him.
I'm unsure why he's raising his, he's the SLA applicant. I'll just
Okay, all right.
advise him.
Okay, all right then. Okay, so yeah, so this is our final meeting for Community Board 9 for this year. I hope everyone is safe. I hope you are well. I hope you are enjoying the holiday season. And with that, we are actually going to go into our agenda. Actually, we are going to depart from our agenda just slightly. We are honored and privileged to have with us this evening our State Senator, Zelnor Myrie, who is with us, who wishes to give remarks in regards to the board. State Senator, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chair Baptiste. Good evening, everyone. A very, very happy holiday season to you all. I don't want to derail the agenda too much, but wanted to come and give you greetings at the end of the year and wish you a happy holiday season as we look towards January of 2022. Wanted to shout out my staff member, Portia Edwards, who you usually hear from. I want to publicly thank her for her service to the office. And I wanted to talk about two things very briefly. One, you all know that we have been out front on the issue of gun violence in our community. We have passed a number of bills in the state Senate as it relates to abating gun violence. And one of the bills that we passed was to hold the gun industry accountable for bad actors, not everyone, for bad actors in the gun industry that allow for their guns to flood into our community. We passed that bill. It was signed into law in July. And just today, the gun industry sued the state of New York to say that our law was unconstitutional and that it should not go into effect. And so for those of you who don't enjoy reading the annals of law, you should know that this is a tactic that is used by individuals who are afraid of the impact of the law that is going to go into effect. And so we are setting up for a big fight. You should know that the state is leading the country in holding this industry accountable, and they are afraid of the impact of that law. So stay tuned. And then secondly, and very importantly, for all of our homeowners, January 3rd, the state will be opening up a homeowner assistance fund, HAF. I want everyone to write this website down, nyhomeownerfund.org, nyhomeownerfund.org. What is that about? In April, we passed in the budget $500 million that we got assistance from our Congress members to assist homeowners who have been struggling during COVID-19. And what this will do is give you up to $50,000 in assistance if you are having trouble with your mortgage, if you are behind in your water bills, sewer bills, tax bills, you're in forbearance, any sort of financial difficulty related to you staying in your home, this program will help you up to $50,000. But here is the catch, community. It is first come, first serve. So once that $500 million runs out, that is it. So we are making a concerted effort to ensure that people in our community are eligible for this, that you have your documentation ready. So if you go to that website, it'll show you all of the things you need to prepare so that when the application comes out, you are ready to submit. Our office will be a resource for you if you need assistance with the application, but many of the housing organizations will also be there to help you out. This is going to be the #1 priority for my office. Starting January 3rd, the application is only open for 30 days. All right, so we got to get ready, we got to get the word out, and we got to get help to people who need it. So again, please, nyhomeownerfund.org opens January 3rd, closes 30 days later. We will be here to help you out. I wish everyone a very, very wonderful holiday season. I am happy to answer any questions if I am allowed, Chair, but thank you all for your service to the community. And I'm looking forward to seeing folks in the new year. Please be safe, be safe, be safe. We are in tumultuous times, so ensure that you are masking up, that you're doing everything and taking the proper precautions. Thank you again for your service, and happy to answer any questions. Oh, hold on one second. Portia did remind me of one thing that I forgot. We have a big Christmas giveaway this Saturday. We are doing a Santa sleigh ride down Nostrand Avenue. You're gonna hear some music. You're gonna see us maybe dressed up in some Christmas clothing. If you come in front of our office, which is 1077 Nostrand Avenue at 2 p.m., bring the kids, bring whomever you want to. We'll be giving away toys. So please stop by. We're gonna be making several stops along the way. We're going all through Central Brooklyn, but the Santa sleigh will be stopping in front of my office at 2 p.m. this Saturday.
Thank you very much for that, Senator. Thank you very much for your warm regards as well. Only as we have you, we will entertain two only quick questions. First two, that's it. We're cutting it off after that. Are there any questions for the state senator? And just as a housekeeping item, for those who are calling in, if you wish to raise your hand, you can either use the Zoom function, raise hands function on Zoom, or you can use *9 to raise your hands. Going once, going twice. So, Senator, thank you very much for your service, and thank you to your staff as well. They are always great partners, always helping us out here at CD9. Thank you so much. And have a happy holiday season. Have a safe holiday season.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now going to go back to our regular order. Just very briefly, with respect to the rules of order for the meeting, I just want to remind everyone, I'm going to waive the reading of the rules of order, but I just want to remind everyone that we're respectful of comments. We want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be heard to the best that we can. We want to make sure that everybody keeps their microphones muted until you are actually, ready to speak. And please just also make sure to remember, wait for us to call you, to recognize you first, so that way we can make sure you have the floor. So that way you are clear and everything that you have to say will be heard. And the same respect will go to all of the members and residents who speak this evening. And again, with respect to Zoom, if you wish to be recognized, please use the raise hands function on Zoom. If you are on the phone, please, at the appropriate time, please make sure to use the *9 function. That will raise your hand. Myself and the district office staff will be looking out to see if we can identify people at the appropriate times as well. If you are looking for documents, most of the documents that we will be discussing this evening have been forwarded to the board members. Those documents are also available on the CD9 website. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to get access to those as well as they'll be posted after the meeting for any comments. Okay, we are now going to go into item 2, application to the New York State Liquor Authority. At this time, I will call on the Chairman of Public Safety, Rabbi Yaakov Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one applicant for a full liquor license for his establishment. The establishment is called, let me just pull this up here. YKA Sport Bar and Grill Incorporated, 467 Rogers Avenue. We did not have quorum at our meeting. There were some things missing from the application, including signatures. We gave the applicant till, because of COVID and everything, he had some issues with signatures. We gave him till today to provide the signatures, which he did. There were some discrepancies in the application, which he fixed up as well. He's going to be hiring from the community and the hours of operation. Now, there was some conversation about whether or not we want to support this applicant because of the proximity of other liquor licenses in the area. And the state liquor authority is going to determine that. And the reason why we didn't feel it was okay for us to really get involved in that is because we don't have a policy which is universal and district-wide. I don't think it makes sense for us to look at one establishment and say, well, in this area, there's too many. And when we haven't done that in the past, I don't think it would be unfair to that establishment. And part of the state liquor authority's, job is to really make that assessment and decide whether or not there are too many licenses or applicants or whatever it is in that area. So we're going to ask the attorney representing the establishment to speak. Before I turn it over to the attorney, I just want to say that please look at the minutes of the public safety this month. We have crime statistics from this year compared to last year. In many areas, crime is down. There is one area, unfortunately, which crime is up, which is murder crime is down, robbery crime is down, burglary is down, shooting is and rape. It's not where it's none of it's where it should be, but we're doing better in a lot of areas. But unfortunately, in rape, we had 3 more rapes. Last year was 19. This year there were 21. So that's plus about 10%. Is the attorney here representing the establishment on Zoom?
Yes, hi. Yes, good evening. Hi, my name is Jen Harris, attorney for the applicant, and I am dialing in by phone. I was having a couple of issues with my microphone. Can you hear me okay?
We could hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for having us.
I see that the owner also has his hands raised. Mr.
Yes,
Lewis,
that is
do you
correct.
not hear us?
Lewis.
Hi, I just want to recognize he's here as well with us tonight. So
Lewis,
you can, I don't
sorry,
know.
just before. Can you hear us, Mr. Fritzner? Can you hear us okay? If you want to unmute, no, okay, he can unmute with *6, correct? Well,
Yeah, but
actually, I'm not sure if he's dialing in or he's on camera.
but even if he's muted, he should be able to hear us. His sound is probably off.
Yeah, he may be having an audio issue. He is logged in as a panelist.
All right, so why don't
I do
we?
see his hand raised.
Well, he's
Mr.
able-
Lewis, are you muted? Can you
He's not
you
muted.
can hear us?
Yeah, he can hear us, but I believe he's having an audio issue because it's not allowing me to request him to unmute.
All right, so why don't we start with representative, the attorney, and if there's a need, we'll figure out a way. We have his phone number or something. Maybe we could call him. If there's any questions that the attorney cannot answer, we will figure out a way to get him on the phone or something. All right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Berman.
So just, I'm just going to ask you to be very
Yes.
brief. Just describe the
Absolutely.
establishment, what you hope to hold there, what you're asking for. We'll take a few questions and move on to everything else in the minutes. So we don't want to.
Okay. Sounds good. We like brief. So we are presenting a beer, wine, and full liquor license. We are proposing a full menu, meaning that we are not going to have minimal finger foods. Instead, we want to have a full restaurant opening for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We did share the menu with the board members, and you can see that we have extensive dishes, including breakfast at 8 a.m. We are proposing the hours Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. We have a very small establishment with a maximum occupancy of 28 people. We do have one stand-up bar at the location. There will be no outdoor area. We are proposing to have DJ, jukebox, as well as recorded music. one thing I wanted to point out to Mr. Berman's point about the 500-foot rule. So in an effort to be thorough and disclose everything that we could to the community board, our applicant is located over at 467 Rogers Avenue. When we were counting for your question of how many on-premise establishments are within 2 blocks, what we did is we went 2 blocks, let's say if we're looking straight on at the map, 2 blocks up, 2 blocks down, or 2 blocks north, 2 blocks south. However, if we go by the letter of the law, which is a 500-foot radius, so we disclosed 6 licenses, 5 full liquor, 1 beer and wine. However, the way the Liquor Authority is going to look at this is a 500-foot radius, and I'd like to point out that within 500 feet, there are only 3 full liquor licenses. So we would be the 4th, just a point about saturation. And by comparison, in those 3 existing licenses, Mr. Fritzner is going to be proposing a full menu, whereas the other license that's there now, called the Owl Bar, is more of a tavern. So the Liquor Authority is looking for what are we bringing that is different to the area, and that is one way that Mr. Fritzner hopes to stand out, by really focusing on great food where the alcohol will be a complement to the cuisine. And you'll notice that his drinks are also more cocktails and things like that, again, to complement the cuisine. That's just kind of to give you all an overview. I would like to point out that this place has been licensed before as a beer and wine license. Because Mr. Fritzner has more substantial food, he really wanted to give his patrons the option of hard liquor, to have cocktails, to have, for example, mimosas for brunch and different things like that. So that's just kind of an overview, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
I think we should entertain some questions. I just want to say that I think, first of all, the initial application that I saw disclosed 3, so I guess the updated application you added in the other establishments. I do think this board and maybe the executive committee has to have a conversation about approving liquor licenses. I think of 3 and a 4th and 5 in a small area is not something we want to support long-term, but I also feel that because we don't have a set policy on when to support it, when not to support, I don't know if it would be appropriate for us to, at this time, oppose it. But, I'm definitely, it's up to the board, and my position is we should support it, only because it would be unfair. It's entirely possible that we've done this in the past, supported other establishments that are equally in areas that were, equal amount of establishments. It would be unfair to sort of treat them differently. But I think, Mr. Chair, I think we should see if anybody has any questions from the board, and we can move on with the agenda.
Okay, I do see Member Suki Chong. I do not see any other questions.
That's the only
so
one
Suki,
I see
go
as
ahead.
well.
I'm sorry?
That's the only one I see as well.
Okay, so we'll take Suki's question and we'll close on that. Okay, Suki, you have the floor.
Hi, yeah, Mr. Lewis, thank you for coming. I see from your application that you have previous experience as a cook at a seafood restaurant, which is very nice. Hopefully it means that the food will be good since you're a professional. And I'm just wondering, this is just more for us to understand for the future. If a full liquor license was not an option, would you still consider opening a restaurant in this location with either a wine, beer, and cider, or even just focusing on the food, no liquor at all? Would that still be feasible for you?
Does the
Would it
attorney
still
know
be
the
something you're
answer?
interested in doing?
Is the attorney know?
I do. If that's okay with you, I'm happy to answer if Mr. Fritzner is still having audio issues. Mr. Fritzner, can we see if we can hear you on audio? If not, I'm happy to answer because I have discussed this extensively with the applicant.
So why don't we have you answer?
Okay, so when he was looking at the premises overall, he really, ideally, he would like the support for full liquor, again, more because the food is substantial. As far as going without the alcohol, we'll be very honest, that was not a consideration. I think, I think the members know and understand it. Business is tough, so I commend him for wanting to open this type of establishment, and the alcohol does help bring not only extra income, but people are looking to have something to drink with their food when it's more substantial. So his plan is really for the full liquor, and if you notice, especially if you compare our menu to the menu of the competitors, he really did make that effort to do great substantial food, where other people that were approved for full liquor did not make that effort. And to be honest, some of them didn't have to because they were licensed back when the Liquor Authority was a little bit more lenient. But we would like full liquor. That is the ideal scenario for him to complement the menu.
But I'm not sure you answered the question. If we were to suggest not approve a full liquor, would you still open the establishments? I think was the question.
Yes, I believe so. I mean, he has already signed the lease. It's not something where he would just back out of he really can't back out of the deal. Yes, we would continue and present to the Liquor Authority under the ABC law to try to prove public convenience and advantage. Of course, he wants an amicable relationship with the board, which is why we want to present our case, and we're hoping for support, but he would move forward. I mean, he's already started his business.
So my second question is whether you intend to make use of the open restaurants program to do roadway dining, because I see there's already 2 roadway dining sheds on this block. And right now we don't know what the rules are going to be for open restaurants. There don't seem to be any limits. So I'd like to know what your intention is.
Sure. So, to be honest, that because it's cold out, and that's not really a conversation until probably about May. He would like to leave that option open as long as the Department of Transportation permits it. I can't say if we're talking about the immediate future within the next 3-4 months. No, that is not part of the plan. But he would like to have that option open depending on what the Department of Transportation permits, because right now they're the ones regulating it.
Okay, that was all the questions I had. Thanks.
Excuse me, Fred, it's Warren.
Yes.
Sorry. I just want to say that I hope Mr. Lewis can get on audio when we decide to vote on this, so we can hear from him directly. Thank you.
If there's a need,
All right.
can that be a need?
Oh, I have a need.
So if you have a question, why don't you ask it now? So
I want to ask Mr. Lewis, is he on?
is he on?
Yeah.
Mr. Lewis, can we hear you?
Mr. Lewis, if you're having issues with audio directly on Zoom, maybe you can do the dial-in number by phone. I can.
Okay, we can put this on hold until we have a voting item and there is discussion on that, so Mr. Lewis has a decent amount of time to get on audio. I don't want to hold up the meeting. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So we will consider the application when we enter to the business session. Okay. So we are now going to go into our public commentary period. Our public comment period is for the duration of is scheduled for 30 minutes maximum. Speakers are allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the public and the board. Mia, who do we have currently signed up for public commentary?
Sure. We have 3 registrants. We have Lorna Blackwood, we have Miss Maxine Barnes, and we have Suki Chung.
Okay. All right then. So we are going to take Ms. Blackwood first. If there are any members of the, if there are any attendees who wish to address the board, you still have an opportunity to do so. Please make sure to raise your hand, again, using the *9 function, and either myself or the district team we'll identify you and we'll try and get you in as well, time permitting. Okay, and with that, could you please promote Ms. Blackwood to the panel?
You see her? She was promoted. Okay, she's a panel. Lorna Blackwood, can you please unmute yourself?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, Ms. Blackwood, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, okay, fine. I wanted to address the board because we've had a number of problems on Clarkson Avenue. And I have, we've sent letters throughout the year, not only to the board, but to our representatives, and got no response. And we also put a petition together and sent it to the board as well. And what occurred is that an investor decided that he was going to purchase a home on this street. He did that. He then purchased the second home. In between those 2 homes is a longtime neighbor of ours. And his comment to her was that they're going to, if she would sell them her home, they can build above because they'll make it easier for them. We were extremely upset when we heard this. First of all, we put letters of objections through to the community board saying we don't want anyone damaging our street. Our homes were built 110 years ago by a German architect. Okay, we have had many of us 6 decades in this community, and we're not going to have anybody coming in here shoving us around. And we did research. Our neighbors and friends and even church members who've had to put up with people building floors above houses next to them, they've dealt with stress, noise, street filled with debris and sand and mud, damage to their water damage to their roofs and damage to their property. And when they have discussed the fact that they have damage to their property, they've had to fight to get restitution so they can cover the cost of damage. We don't want that here. We don't want any excess debris. We are dealing with a situation at the end of the street where we had to call in a sanitation enforcer to deal with someone who bought a lot, couldn't build above, left it. It is now filled with debris. It is filled with old water heaters. It is filled with vermin, and 215, which is a small apartment house to the right of it, is constantly fighting the vermin that jumps out of that lot. We don't want anyone building above any of the homes on the street. We do not want anyone coming in and thinking that they can do whatever they want to do. This is a community, okay? And the houses are beautiful. If they want to go in and renovate, that's their business. But you don't build above and start throwing debris around and acting as if you don't have respect for who we are. Okay, so a lot of anger about this because the first of all, you don't come in and tell somebody to move on. That's not happening.
No, thank you very much for your comments.
You're
Ms.
quite
Blackwood.
welcome.
Some of the questions that you raised may be an issue in terms of zoning. I think we've looked at some of this before, and that might be the question where some of what they're doing may be as of right. There may not be much that the board can do with respect to that. But if you wish, we could try and pick up the conversation to see if there's anyone else we can bring in to see if there's anything else that can be done with respect to that.
Fred, could you ask her to repeat that address again, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was the address again, Ms. Blackwood? Ms. Blackwood, are you still with us?
Ms. Blackwood, you're muted.
Okay, I'm not sure, but we'll try and get that information. So if there's
All
any
right,
correspondence
could you
before,
email
we
it
should have
to-
that information.
Email it to me, please.
Okay,
Once you
we can
get
do
it.
that, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
What?
Yeah,
avenue
Fred,
you
I'd
want?
be happy to check on that as well,
I
because
don't
I
know, who am
think
I
there's,
speaking with? Who am I speaking
Yeah,
with?
hold on. I'm sorry. Ms. Blackwood? Yeah, this is the chair. So we just want, the question was, what is the address? Where's the building? What's the address of the purchased properties?
The two properties, one is a 257 and one is 253 Clarkson Avenue.
Clarkson, thank you.
And who wants the address? Who am I speaking with?
There was one of the board members who had a question with respect to that. But that's helpful for us as well, so the district office team will be able to look further into it.
Fine.
Okay, all right, but thank you very much for your comments, Ms. Blackwood. Okay, we are now going to move on in the list. Hold on, Mr. Lewis, we see you. Did you want to speak? We're in public commentary. Do you have an opportunity to speak now? Can you hear? Or can you speak? Yeah, I'm not sure Mr. Lewis can hear us. Okay, we're going to continue on. Thank you. All right, we're now going to go on to Maxine Barnes. And again, for any attendees, if you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function, star 9, and we will try and recognize you and add you to the speakers list.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Barnes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, community. Happy peace-filled, faithful, and righteously filled holidays and beyond. Allow me to express the community concerns. 1, the 40 board unpaid members allegedly hardworking narrative that is weaponized and continually thrown out to justify the non-transparency and silencing of community that this board strategizes is unnecessary, unwarranted, and hurtful. Please know that community residents are also unpaid for the effective, voluminous, and successful community advocacy that they have and continue to do. The community has family obligations, and yes, they too have jobs. This OG senior citizen is still working. And for those that have earned the right to and chosen to retire, God bless them. And they too still have family obligations and a life. This community wants to remind this board that community was directly responsible for and successful in securing necessary and essential evidence, worldwide petitioning, marching, arrested for, yes, voicing objections, voicing questions that were essential in saving the Brooklyn Botanical Garden at this board's meetings and beyond. Despite this board's attempt to silence our voices, despite this board's calling the police for community exercising peacefully the right to speak and engage at their meetings, despite the excessive and unnecessary presence of police at both board meetings and peaceful protests to intimidate, arrest, and discourage, we, the community, saved the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens. Also, the community is concerned about written information and updates being made available on the proposed Fenimore Street rezone. The community has been locked out, and even the ULUP committee of this board, put in place by law, locked out. Where are the updates? Where's the information? And now, deja vu, the community is very concerned about the webinar put in place at CB9 to again silence and deny public viewing and participation. Last general board, after signing up and continually using the raise hand function in this webinar, had it not been for a board member with access to speak, answering my text, I would have been denied my right to speak. Finally, in respect for our democracy and the foundation of transparency as prescribed by the open meetings law, please, 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 community, email and call legislators and legislators elect coming into office in January 2022 and demand, one, hybrid platforms that allow both virtual and in-person access to government bodies' meetings. Also, specifically demand that CB9 eliminate the webinar platform manipulated to deny all transparency. Demand we go back to the virtual platform that was in place as soon as possible, community. Please contact Governor Hochul, the council, the assembly, and the state senator members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Barnes. All right, we have completed the speakers list for those who have signed in. Are there any members of the community who wish to speak at this time?
Yeah, I'm
Can you use the raise hand
signed
function?
in to speak.
Suki, I am so sorry. My apologies.
That's okay.
I apologize for that. Go ahead, Suki. You have the floor.
Can I share my screen?
Unfortunately, we're trying to move the agenda. So if you could just make your points. If there's anything you need to share, you can give that to the district office, and we'll make sure we distribute that as well.
Okay, I mean, it'd actually be much quicker if I can just show the photos. I think I sent around the presentation to all, I emailed the presentation to all of you earlier, but it's just really a lot easier if I can share, quickly walk through the photos for everyone to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough this evening. If you could just walk through your presentation.
Okay, so you know, as Ms. Blackwood said, obviously zoning is something that's really affecting members of our community right now. And one of the things it's really affecting is supermarkets. And I thought that it would be extremely helpful to look at how zoning works in general, not just in our community, but possibly outside of our community. Maybe it's a little bit less controversial if we do it that way. So if you can take a look at the presentation that I emailed to all of you, I sent you some screenshots of the New York City Zolo website, which is the city's interactive zoning website that allows you to look up the zoning of any address and shows you the zoning of the surrounding area. It shows you the width of the streets. It tells you if it's a transit zone, how large the lot is, and how large the buildings are. So it's really a very, very helpful tool. And I outlined the Kensington area. It's a neighborhood that is not far away from us and not too dissimilar in terms of the type of neighborhood, but maybe, you know, something that's not so close to home. It's a little easier to see the big picture. So I highlighted a supermarket in Kensington at 370 McDonald Avenue. It's the Foodtown supermarket, and if Fred would allow me to show the picture, it's a one-story supermarket with a huge parking lot. It's on a 20,000 square foot lot. It's in an R5 zoning district. The second example that I have is the Walgreens supermarket in Windsor Terrace. Another huge one-story supermarket with a parking lot. It's in an R5B zoning district. So the R5 zoning district allows a maximum of 4 stories and 1.25 times the zoning lot area can be built. So it produces very small townhouse-like buildings. It's not a lot of building. These are both on wide streets that are 80 feet or more wide, which urban planners often tell us is suitable for denser development. But you can see in these two cases that that's not always the case. Both McDonald Avenue and Prospect Avenue are wide avenues, but they have R5 zoning, which is a low density zoning. So how is this relevant? Obviously with, you know, whether or not a supermarket that's a low intensity use can survive depends on how much somebody is allowed to build on that lot, because the owner is going to be comparing how much money they can make running this supermarket every year with how much money they can make from building an apartment building. And the less they can build, the less money they're going to make from building residential housing. So it makes it easier for these two supermarkets to survive in this neighborhood, even though just like the one that we have at 975 Nostrand, they're one-story supermarkets with giant parking lots. So, you know, it's important, I think, you know, even when we think about what kind of access we have to supermarkets, that we look at the zoning that we have, the zoning that we have in our community. We don't have a lot of R5 zoning, but R5 is really the default zoning in many communities west of the park in residential areas. So
Yeah,
I hope
sorry,
we
Suki,
get
I
more
think
of
you're
a
out of time.
chance.
Just conclude your, yeah, go ahead, you can conclude your remarks.
Yeah, so I think, you know, if people, this is something that people want to discuss more, how zoning affects our community. I'd be happy to do that, you know, either at the ULURP committee, people should come to the general meetings. You know, I was happy to hear Ms. Blackwood come, but this is something that we really need to look at.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And definitely it's probably a topic that we should be taking up with respect to ULURP in terms of level setting everyone's knowledge about the zoning. So that's definitely something we can bring up. Please send your suggestions with respect to that, and we can see if we can get that on the agenda there. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Are there any other attendees? This is the final call. Are there any other attendees who wish to speak during public commentary today?
Hi, yeah, I'm with the Department of Sanitation. I'd like a minute.
For public commentary?
I thought that was under the section.
Oh, no, we're going to do acknowledgements right next. So,
Then I'm
I mean,
so
if you have
sorry. No, I'll be waiting.
no, no worries. Okay, then. All right, so we're going to conclude our public commentary. I want to thank all those who spoke before the board this evening. And please, I always remind everyone that if you have any issues or questions, please always feel free to forward them to the district office, or even better yet, to make sure you let the committees know about these as well. Unfortunately, because we are a little bit more time limited during the general board meetings, the committees are really better designed in terms of being able to address some of the issues and have much fuller in-depth conversations as well. But I thank everyone again for your comments. And for those with action items, afterwards, we'll make sure we work with the district office team to see what we can do and answer questions as well.
Hello?
Okay, we are now going, yes, hello? Yes, hello? Okay, all right. We are now going to move on to acknowledgements. We've already previously had our state senator, Zelnor Myrie, address the board. Are there any representatives or elected officials who are here with us this evening? No problem. Mia, call them out if you see them.
I see Portia is here representing the senator. I'm not sure if the senator provided all of the office updates. I guess she'll advise us if she has anything further to share. And of course, Ms. Gumas from DSNY. And excuse me, Ricardo Newball from the VP's office. And Damaris Spiro from DOB, excuse me.
Hi, yes, sorry, I just unmuted myself. I don't really have, this is Damaris in Department of Buildings. I don't really have any updates, but I just wanted to come on and make sure that I'm here. And if there's any questions or concerns, I'm here at the meeting.
Can we ask her a question now?
I'm sorry?
Can we ask the DOB a question now? Or she just passing through?
Typically, we just do, you know, it's just acknowledgements in terms of that. Yeah, typically we do acknowledgements. Just I want to make sure we get to the rest of the agenda. I want to be, you know,
All right, no worries.
Everyone's time.
Can you get Fred? I appreciate that. Can you get her email address for us, please?
I have the email address. I'll connect with you tomorrow, Beverly.
Okay, thank you, Dante.
Of course.
Thank you, Dante.
Can you send
Thank
it
you,
to all of us, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you very much, Damaris, for all the work you do with us. Let me see, Ms. Gumas, we saw you as well. You now have the mic if you wish to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry about that. Been through a lot of these meetings and the agendas are all a little bit different. I'm here from the Department of Sanitation just to talk really quickly about leaf collection. As I'm sure you're familiar, once a year, the Department of Sanitation hosts a special collection just for leaves, similar to what we'll do with Christmas trees in about a month, or where we collect them for composting. So despite not having brown bins in your neighborhood just yet, you can set out your leaves in brown paper bags or in large unlined containers, so no plastic bags, and sanitation will collect them for composting. I will say your collection date for all of Brooklyn is this Saturday, but that we've had a lot of staffing issues over the last month or so. So I would expect 1 to 2 days extra in case they're not collected immediately, but hold out and we will get them and we will compost them. So thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dumas. Also, I thought I heard Ricardo Newball from the outgoing Brooklyn Borough President's office.
Good evening, everybody. There's no major updates. I just want to wish everyone a happy new year and a happy and safe holidays. As always, if you ever have any questions, you can give our office a call at 718-802-3700, or you can send me an email personally at ricardo.newball@brooklynbp.nyc.gov. I'll respond as quick as I can, but please just feel free to reach out. I wish everybody a good night.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Ricardo. And I also just want to take time to just thank you very publicly for all your support and your attendance, your consistent attendance of these meetings as well. Thank you so much for your service, and we wish you all the best and happy holidays. Okay, I also see is Portia Edwards on the line as well.
I am.
Portia,
Good
Ms.
night,
Edwards.
everyone. Good night. As you guys know, I'm Portia Edwards. I'm from the District Director for State Senator Zona Mary's office. The Senator mentioned everything he needed to say earlier, but I just wanted to come on and give you all a happy holidays. I hope you guys have a great rest of the year and that you guys are staying safe as we are entering into the new year. So thank you guys so much for all of the work that you do and for partnering with our office on the many of events that we've done so far this end of the year. And we look forward to working with you more in the new year.
Ms. Edwards, thank you so much. And thank you so much for all the hard work you do on behalf of our community. Okay. All right, and I apologize in advance. Are there any other representatives from any offices that we have not recognized at this time? Okay, I don't see anyone. Dante, Mia, do you see anyone else?
I do not.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So with that, that concludes our public session. We are now going to go into the business session. Mia, I would ask at this time if you would be able to call the roll.
Sure. Give me one moment. Okay, board members, prepare to unmute yourselves, please. Kyrie Aline. Nicholas Almanor. Nicholas Almanor. Stuart Balber.
I'm here. Oh, Nicholas is here.
Thank you. Stuart Balber.
Why is it so freezing?
Fred Baptiste.
Why is it choppy?
Present.
Naomi Baptiste.
Present.
Thank you. John Beckles Jr.
Can't hear it.
Rabbi Yaakov Berman.
Present.
Thank you. Warren Burke.
Why is this choppy? Why is this choppy?
Augustine Blackwell. Augustine Blackwell. Suki Chung.
Here.
Verlene Dozier. Rosemary Evering.
Here.
Tessa Hackett Vieira. Tessa Hackett Vieira. Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you. Sloma Zalman Hecht. Sloma Zalman Hecht. Primo Lasana is absent. Mina Lagut,
Mia, please resend him his login. He's having some trouble logging in.
sure.
Okay, we'll system.
Mina Lagut,
Present.
thank you. Francisca Leopold. Francisca Leopold,
Francisca is hoarse. She cannot speak.
I see her on the screen waving. Thank you, Fran. Melanie Lewis,
Present.
thank you. Matthias Limburger,
Here.
thank you. Christian LeBeau,
Here.
thank you. Manaka Margolin,
Yellow.
Manaka Margolin,
Yellow.
is that, someone else is speaking.
Okay, I would remind all members to please keep your microphones muted while we're calling the
Barbara
roll so we can make
Martinez?
sure we record.
Here.
Thank you. Vivian Morgan, Pat Moses,
Here.
thank you. Beverly Newsome,
Here.
Yankee Pearson, Real Peerbones,
Here.
Amy Pinkerton,
Here.
Yanela Romperi is absent. Dexter Roberts, Dexter Roberts, Felice Robertson, Felice Robertson,
Present.
thank you. Mary Rollison Blackett, Mary Rollison Blackett, Melissa Severe is absent. Rashida Sadiq,
Here.
thank you. Kanina Sperlin, Kanina Sperlin, Rashida Sykes is absent. Debbie Timothy is excused. Linda Watson Lord, Linda Watson Lord, Evelyn Williams, Evelyn Williams, Lorianne Wosley,
Present.
thank you. Cheryl Wright, Cheryl Wright, okay, I'll go back through the roll. For those who have received no answer, Kyrie Aline, Stuart Balberg, John Beckles Jr., Augustine Blackwell, Verlene Dozier, Tessa Hackett Vieira, Saloma Zalman Hecht, Primo Lasana is absent. Manaka Margolin,
Present.
thank you. Vivian Morgan, Yankee Pearson, Dexter Roberts, Mary Rollison Blackett, Lissa Severe is absent. Kanina Sperlin, Rashida Sykes is absent. Debbie Timothy absent. Linda Watson Lord, Cheryl Wright. Chair, give you one moment to give you current members present. We currently have 23 members present.
23 members present. We have a quorum. Thank you very much. Okay, we are now going to move on to the next item, approval of the November 2021 General Board Meeting minutes. The minutes have been sent out to all the board members. At this time, are there any corrections to be made to the minutes? Call for a second time. Are there any corrections to be made to the minutes?
I mean, I fix my.
Oh, Mr. Louis, we'll call you in a few minutes. We'll actually have an opportunity to ask questions with regards to your application. We have you in a few minutes. Okay, I call for a final time. Any corrections for the minutes? Okay, seeing no corrections, the minutes will stand as approved, as there are no corrections that have been called for. We are now going to go on to committee reports. At this time, the committee reports have been submitted by the chairs and should have been disseminated to the board. Are there any chairs who have immediate announcements that they need to make?
Hi, it's
If so,
Warren.
please raise your hand. Okay.
Warren.
Warren, go ahead.
In lieu of Francesca not being able to speak due to illness, I just wanted to reemphasize that we had a Kings County Hospital board meeting tonight, and it is so important that everybody gets vaccinated or gets their boosters. We've tripled our exposure to COVID in our community. So please, let's get with this, because if not, it's not going to end. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any other committee chairs who at this time wish to give a very brief and underscore brief report for the committees, or are there any announcements? Okay, seeing none, we are going to go on to one item with respect to the nomination committee. So in the month of November, we had impaneled a nomination committee with the task of running the process for electing, filling the vacancy in the position of executive secretary. Do we have Mina Lagut online right now?
Hi, Brett, I'm here.
Okay. All right. So at this time, if you would be able to give a report for the on behalf of the nomination committee.
On behalf of the nomination committee, what we've done so far is that we selected a chair to the committee, which is myself. And since our last meeting, we reached out to board members to find out if there was anyone who's willing or able to run for the position as the executive secretary. So far, we have not received any nominations. I'm sorry. So far, we have not received any nominations. And I think we're going to take a moment tonight to see whether or not anyone has changed their mind. And did you want me to read from all of the timeline and process that we went through?
If you could, just for the record, just so we can identify the process that the committee took.
Okay, so our timeline started in November last month, where we selected the committee, the committee chair. This month, what we're doing is that the nomination meets and we elected myself, like I said, as the chair. We obtained the member list, completed outreach to CV9 membership, presented a report for the general board meeting, and opened the floor for self-nominations. No one at this time has nominated themselves or others to the position. Next month, what we hope to do is to have an electronic election with consideration for those who lack access to technology. Write-ins will be acceptable, but we're going to have to first nominate someone. And
Okay,
after that,
thank you very much.
Okay, yeah.
No,
Does anyone have any
I
questions?
didn't-
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yeah, are there any questions for the nomination committee chair at this time?
Yes, I have a statement. It's Warren. Everybody, we need to fill this position. So someone needs to step up. It's a very important position. We were blessed with Alejandra in the past year or 2 years, but we really need someone to do this. So please, accept the nomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And I just wanted to echo that sentiment as well. There's a lot of fantastic work that happens on this board, but we can't have the work being done by a small few. The reason why the thing that will make us successful is when people step up and they take leadership and they take ownership. This is definitely a critical position with respect to the executive committee. And the other thing I guess I want to say is I don't want anyone to be afraid of it either. For all the positions that we have available of leadership on CB9, I hope that I make the commitment now that you are always supported. So it's a matter of if there are things you don't know or there are resources you need in terms of helping you to do your job, myself, the executive committee, the district office team, we stand ready to assist you in this. I know that being the secretary of an organization is usually not the most fun position. People typically view it as tons of work. With that being said, I do want to say that with regards to the minutes, one, it's a crucial job, but two, it's not as difficult as it is. The district office team has done a lot in terms of setting templates, guides, things that will assist you in doing that. And the district office also stands ready to assist you as well in terms of being able to record the minutes and making sure that they're submitted and things are submitted as they need to as well. I think it's a wonderful opportunity in terms of making that next move, in terms of stepping up in leadership in CB9. And I would encourage a number of you to actually consider this and nominate yourself as well. So with that being said, I leave it to Madam Chair. If you wish, you can open up the floor for nominations.
Is there anyone at this time who'd like to be nominated or who would like to submit a nomination to the board? Just as a reminder, the term is just for 1 year. It's not for 2 years. If anyone was wondering what the terms of the position are, you do have to, I believe, be a member of the board for a year at least. Is it? Fred?
I would like to say my name is
Actually, before you start,
Hi,
just
I would
one
like to say my name
small
is-
qualification.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Felice. One quick qualification with that. So as the nomination chair said correctly, you need to be on the board for at least 1 year. So you have to be on the board for at least 1 year. The other qualification is the term as we had elected a secretary at the end of last year, you are filling the vacancy. So you are filling the unexpired term, meaning you would take office if elected in January, you would take the office from January until we have elections again in June. So you're really only filling it for about 4 or 5 months. So that would really be the commitment with respect to being elected as secretary at this time. And I apologize. Felice, I believe you did have a question, or you want to say, you'll make a statement.
I just want to say that this is a very honorable position. I've not been on for a year, so that rules me out. All right, I just want to say that it's very honorable.
Thank you so much for that, Felice.
Fred, if I remember correctly, it's Yakov here. I think we did have in the past, we found some kind of loophole to let somebody do the work that was not on for a year. I don't remember exact circumstances, but I do remember that maybe to do the writing parts, and I don't remember how it was worked out, but I vaguely recall that we couldn't fill this position as well. We had somebody on, I think maybe it was Scott, he was an attorney. He was on before. Is that possible? Do you remember anything like that?
I do remember a while ago that there was a vacancy and a member of the board had filled it temporarily until we actually had the election. So we have had that in the past, but the bylaws do call that we do need to have the elections. The election is actually past due because of,
I'm talking about, I think the person who filled it was not on for a year. That's why you had a temporary, I don't remember. I'm just saying, if you need the executive secretary until somebody has to be taking these notes. So, I mean, maybe we should figure out if we can, work that out somehow. Somebody's not on for a year, I'm saying. The issue is the bylaw, right? The issue is the bylaw. You have to be on for a year. I don't know if we could vote an exception. I don't know. I mean, you're the expert here.
Well, the thing I probably would offer, and I can look into this a little bit more deeply, is we may have an opportunity to suspend the rules with respect to the qualification for that one time. So we can do that. So I guess with that respect, and thank you for that point, if you do wish, and you are otherwise barred, if you do wish to run for, be considered, please, you can nominate yourself at this time. And at which point we can see what we can do in terms of if it's something permissible for us to suspend the rules with respect to that qualification.
Hey, it's Warren. I nominate for Ms. Robinson.
I don't think we're
I
taking.
love you.
The
I love you, Warren.
nomination
You know I
committee has
do.
to nominate, not you.
Thank you, Felice. Excuse me, Yaakov. I just nominated someone.
Are we opening for nominations from the board or
The floor, yes, the floor is open for nominations from the floor.
So do I have a second?
you don't have to second for a nomination?
Yeah, nominations don't require a
Robert
second.
rules.
Thank you.
Okay, so Felice, you've been nominated by Mr. Burke. Do you accept?
Fred, before we do that,
Yes, go ahead.
before we do that, we don't have to put a motion to change it to do someone who's not been there a year before we put the person who hasn't been there a year?
Well, remember, the election isn't going to happen until next year, so this will give me until next month. I can understand, I can definitely do some follow-up to figure out if it's something we can do. I don't want to put it out there. We may not be able to waive that portion. It's something I would have to research a little bit just to make sure. But at this time, at least, if it's something she's not qualified, that we can take care of that at the next board meeting.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so Felice, I have you as nominated by Warren Burke, and you accept?
I can't even hear you because this is so chopped up.
Yeah, I'm
Hello?
sorry. So you've been nominated. You accept
Yeah.
the nomination? Felice, you accept?
I would love to, but I can't. I sit on 4 seats already.
Ah, okay.
I don't
So you
want
decline?
to.
No, that's understood. So you're declining? I think we lost Felice. Okay. All
Hello,
right.
hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes,
Oh
we
my
can hear you.
God, this thing is like really choppy. I'm on it. I'm really on it. I sit on 4 seats already, so I wouldn't do you great justice. That's the only thing. But I would love to do it because I've sat in many seats as secretary. I would love to have done it.
Okay, so you're declining at this time?
With great regrets.
Understood. Thank you. All right. Okay, are there any other nominations? Anyone who wishes to nominate someone or nominate themselves?
I'd like to nominate Swan Chong.
I'm sorry, who you want to nominate?
Swan Chong.
Oh, I'm sorry, I broke up. I didn't hear.
He's saying he wants to
Suen Chong.
nominate
Okay.
Suki, yeah.
Okay, Suen Chong. All right, Suki, you've been nominated. Do you accept?
I want to thank you. I can't accept, like Felice, I'm already on a number of other boards. The land use committee is a lot of work if you take it seriously. But my recommendation to the board, honestly, is that we get a transcription service. I think that would be enormously helpful to whoever does accept the position.
Okay, thank you, Suki. Are there any other nominations or anyone else wish to self-nominate?
Just Fred, for the purpose of time, please only nominate if you spoke to the person. There's a high probability of them accepting.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, are there any nominations? Okay.
Happy holidays. And you look quite different. Dr.
I'm sorry, I hear a voice. I can't hear what's being said.
It was background noise.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we call for a third and final time. Is there anyone who wishes to nominate or be not, or themselves or nominate another board member? Okay, seeing none. All right, seeing none. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to move. I would entertain a motion to table nominations until next month. I think it's appropriate. I think we should have some conversations. And I do want this board to seriously consider. This is a leadership position on this board, understanding that there is work entailed, but it's also something that is definitely necessary for the board to do. So at this time, I definitely want some people to think about it in terms of, the next step, the contribution that you're gonna make to the board, assuming leadership. And we also do need to start considering that as a board in terms of, we need to start that succession planning where we have people stepping up, learning how to run the board, and getting that experience and being able to take us to other levels. So this time I'll entertain a motion.
The nominations.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Beverly?
I'll make a motion to table the nominations until next month.
Okay, I have a motion by Beverly Newsom to table nominations until next month.
Second.
I second.
Moved by Beverly, seconded by, I heard Yakov. Okay, are there any discussions? Any questions?
Before we move, what would be the goal to table it next month, since we haven't had people to express an interest this month? Could you?
We also, one, I'm hoping people have a change of heart. Two, we do have a significant number of absentees this month too. So perhaps we'll see maybe one of the people who weren't able to do it this month, who are not here, will think about it and do it next month.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we are going to call the question. All those in favor of tabling until next month, please say aye.
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 Okay, all those members who are opposed, please say your name so we can record for the record. All those who are opposed, please say your name for the record. Are there any who abstain? Please say your name for the record. Are there any members who wish to abstain? Please say your name for the record. Okay, seeing no votes and no abstentions, I would ask Mia, please record that the motion carries unanimously by a vote of the board. Those present. Okay, thank you very much. And I do want to thank the nomination committee. We're going to take this up next month, so we're probably going to end up pushing the process back by 1 month. But we are going to try and do some additional outreach in terms of identifying members who may be interested. And again, I don't want people to be afraid of the work. This is great work. I think the experience is one that is great. You're already doing the work in terms of your commitment to the board, the committees you serve on, your attendance here. And I think it's a great next step for a lot of you there. But we'll take it up next month. Thank you very much. At this time, we are now going to move on in the agenda. We're going to go to the district office report. Dante, you have a report for the board?
Yes. Good evening. So with the district office report, I'll start with the board office budget. Currently in our OTPS, our operating budget, we have $8,177.82. This month, earlier this month, the district service cabinet did meet, and I will briefly go through some of the updates that were shared at the cabinet meeting. First, I will be reaching out to the newly elected officials once their offices become operational, in hopes, well, requesting in hopes to have a representative from each elected official's office serve on the district service cabinet. Also from the district service cabinet, the crime stats that were presented by Detective Barada. He did mention that the public should consider using drop-off sites instead of ordering directly to their homes. As you've seen across the city, packages, there has been an increase in theft, especially among mailed packages. So if you have the ability to, please take advantage of drop-off sites like Amazon Lockbox lockers when you're ordering mail. Also, in the another update as it pertains to crime stats, in the Lefferts area, Detective Barada had mentioned that there was an increase in burglaries. Apparently, these individuals were using fire escapes to enter homes. And so please make sure that you secure your windows at night. Also, do not leave your car doors unlocked, and do not leave valuable items in the vehicle, and especially in plain sight in your vehicle. Another update is FDNY is changing their fire and EMS stats system. Usually they're able to provide those stats at the district service cabinet, but they're changing their system. At a later date, I will be able to retrieve the stats that we missed over the months. So if you're interested in that specific data, please send an email to the board office. DOHMH also reported that 70% of Brooklyn residents have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and 64% of residents in Brooklyn are fully vaccinated. For Con Edison, until December 21st, so 5 days, Con Edison will not disrupt service for non-payment of bill. So if you have, if you're caught in this situation, or if you know of anyone who may need assistance in terms of their bill to Con Edison, they can call 1-800-752-6633. Again, 1-800-752-6633. Another update is BRIC, Brooklyn's free speech TV network. We are in the process of discussing with them how we can broadcast the general board meetings moving forward. Those discussions are ongoing. So we're really excited that we might have the opportunity to be able to broadcast this. Apparently, once they broadcast the meetings, it's in the homes of hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers. And so, this is a prime opportunity for us to really showcase the types of things that are happening here at this board. So those discussions are ongoing. And if something is solidified, I will update at that time. The Civic Engagement Commission is looking for members to join the 2022 Language Access Advisory Committee. An email was sent out to board members on December 3rd. So if you're interested, please check your inboxes. All contact information for that endeavor is in the email. On December 9th, CB9, in partnership with the Department of Finance, hosted a lien sale, a virtual lien sale event for members of the public to come and ask, inquire about the lien sale process and what they can do to remove their names remove their properties off the lien list. I'm pleased to say that we had around 20 participants at that virtual event. And so, if possible, we will continue to work with the Department of Finance as the lien sale approaches. And in any information that we receive from the Department of Finance, we will put it in our constant contact and also send it out to board members. I've mentioned this a couple times. We are almost there. We are about to launch our new website. At the executive board meeting Tuesday, a question was brought up to see if we could show a demo of the Ghost site as we build it out. I have been in contact with DoIT, the Department of Information Technology and Telecommunication. It looks like there is a possibility that we will be able to show a demo to board members and to the public, probably at the January general board meeting. That will give an opportunity for all board members and members of the public to be able to offer suggestions for the website. We really want to make sure that the website has pertinent information to our district and is easily accessible. And so we want to make sure that you guys get the opportunity to be able to look at it before it's officially launched. And then the last thing is, through constituent complaints and just conversations and going to some of the committee meetings, there has been this issue in the district of traffic, of enforcement. More specifically, we're seeing an issue across the district where people are double parking and is preventing the street sweeper from being able to clean the streets. Also, people are not moving for alternate side parking. And so these two issues are essentially leaving streets unswept. And so I have reached out to the Department of Sanitation, to the 71st Precinct, and to NYPD Traffic Enforcement. We are in the process of scheduling a meeting to discuss these issues in depth. And so if you are seeing these issues, especially double parking or cars are not moving for alternate side, if you could email the board office that location, the location where you're seeing this take place, I would like to have that information as I sit down with the agency representatives to discuss this specific issue. And with that, that's the end of my report.
Dante.
Yes, hello.
Well, hold on, before you start. So I do see a couple of hands. Beverly, I do see you. I did see Lorianne Wolseley just ahead of you, and then I see Amy Pinkerton right after. So we'll take Ms. Wolseley first, and then we get right to you. Okay, Beverly?
Okay, no worries.
Okay, thanks. All right, Ms. Wolseley.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, that was an accident. I didn't mean to raise my hand. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Okay, Ms. Newsom, we're right back to you.
Have we reached out to, I can only speak for the area that I live in. So Amazon, where we are, they're notorious for, one, exposing the packages. They come in our lobby, they drop them right in the floor. We're looking at sometimes 30 packages just dropped in the lobby. Have we as a board reached out to deliverers, Amazon in particular, to address how they do things in our community?
I have not made any type of formal request or inquiry with Amazon or any other large delivery service. I'm not sure if anyone else here on the board has made that contact, but I have.
Dante, what was the question? I'm sorry.
I believe that Ms. Newsom was asking if the board has ever reached out to companies like Amazon to essentially discuss how they're delivering packages isn't customer friendly.
I like that, Dante, customer friendly, yeah.
You mean what, to prevent theft?
Yeah.
A lot of what they're allow me, Dante, thank you. A lot of what they're doing encourages theft. When you walk into a public space and you drop down 30 packages, no one's watching, that's asking. Don't get me wrong, I do advocate for people being honest in their own right. But for those of us who lack that restraint, you walk into a building and you're seeing everything from the size of a microwave to a jewelry box. They are not very successful in controlling themselves. Regardless of how many times us as individuals approach our particular culprit is Amazon Prime, because now Amazon Prime has these big these big foldable, collapsible boxes that they go and they set in multiple family dwellings. I can't speak on private homes, but in multiple family dwellings, they bring the boxes in full of boxes and leave them there. Some of them come in and just dump the packages in the lobby in the public space. So regardless of how many times we reach out to them as individuals, we're not an agency. They're not responding. They're not redirecting their team. They're not addressing, because even when a person files a complaint, they have to file a repeat police report. So if your package gets stolen, many people are being asked, I guess it depends on the value of the package, to file a police report. And a lot of people don't want to go through that, go to the police station, on and on. So that's why I'm asking, have you as a community board reached out to them as representatives of the community?
Well, first of all, Beverly, I live in a block with private residents, and we have every day a theft. It's not limited to buildings. In fact, some people they wait and they watch, they follow the mailman, UPS, Amazon, and they steal. But I gotta say, I know I don't think you meant it this way, but delivering packages to a apartment building, to even imply that somehow is encouraging theft, I think is beyond ludicrous.
Well, that's how you heard it, Yakov. What I said was, I can only speak for where I am, and that is where I am. And when I reach out to others, that is where they are.
So, if I could, just in the interest of time.
Fred,
so with respect to that, one of the things that's helpful, especially, I guess, so you're saying that there's a problem over in Ebbets Field. That's something we can probably take up.
Harry
One of the things,
Silver, all of us.
What can you do?
Okay.
People stop ordering packages? Like, what doesn't make any sense.
Okay, public safety, please.
hold on. Yeah, if I could just finish the point, and maybe something we could take up with NYPD, because typically what happens is Amazon doesn't worry about it. It's a cost of doing business. So you lose it, they redeliver it, and for a few bucks or whatever else in insurance or whatever they do, they pass on the costs. But particularly if there's an issue, we can definitely take it up in terms of there might be a customer service number we can contact as a board just to find out if there are alternative arrangements. But it also kind of speaks to the point that Dante was saying, which is why NYPD was suggesting really using drop boxes. So I think there's one right across the street, if I remember correctly, right in the Rite Aid across the street.
And it's for many.
So perhaps it's a matter. Yeah.
With all due respect, because of what we're experiencing right now on this side, many of those areas are full. The one in 1679 where the Rite Aid is, there are many times you ask for your package to be delivered there. There are no available boxes. There's 2 drugstores on Franklin. Now that they've removed the one from Associated that used to be on Nostrand, that one's not there anymore because the grocery store is gone. It's a whole big cascade of events that occur, but there has to be, I understand what you're saying, but there has to be some accountability on behalf of the store to do better.
Well, Detective Barada actually addressed this, Beverly. And what he said essentially was, is in today's in New York, a lot of these people stealing packages are repeat offenders. And 80% of them, he didn't use 80%, but a lot of them are repeat offenders. They steal packages Monday, and then Monday afternoon, they're stealing packages again. I think the solution is, if somebody's a serial package thief, not somebody who steals once, not a kid, but somebody who's stealing on a regular basis, should be prosecuted, held accountable, and he should understand that the consequences for stealing packages is not worth the crime, and then the crime is going to stop. The solution is not punishing homeowners and tenants and telling them they have to order packages a half a mile from their house. That's just crazy. I'm sorry.
Who said that? No one said
that. Listen, we have to get back to the order here.
A steel box in front of my house to lock up a package.
Yakov, we do have to get back to the order of the day. So let me do this. Dante, let's talk about it offline, and Yakov, and we'll see what response is possible in terms of either connecting with Amazon directly, or perhaps we will see if we can get NYPD involved in that somehow, see if there's any kind of strategy we can figure out. But we'll take it offline and we'll bring it back to Public Safety Committee.
But Fred, can I say though, I understand, most of us understand the limitations of NYPD. We do understand that. And the fact that these guys follow DHS, UPS, they follow them. We know that, we see them. We know that, but we're asking, Amazon wanted New York City, they have New York City, so they need to do better in how they deliver packages. That's all I'm asking.
Right. Oh, no, and that's a conversation we'll initiate. We'll see what other options there are, and we'll be able to bring that to the committee. Okay. All right, Amy, I see you, and we're going to close on you because we do need to move on. Go ahead, Amy.
I wanted to go back to the double parking. I moved here like 11 years ago, and I got locked in one day for alternate side. I didn't realize that the tradition in this area was basically to double park your car and to leave it and then come back, a half hour before sweep cleaning is done, and then, re-park your car. So I spoke to the cops about that, or I spoke to somebody about it, and they said, look, this is a legacy issue that people really like. They like to be able to leave their cars double parked, and the cops don't ticket them when they're double parked as long as the street cleaning times are, it's within those hours, an hour and a half. A lot of people do appreciate that. I don't find that the street cleaners are blocked from cleaning the street from double parked cars. What it is when people don't move their cars on the side that's being cleaned. So you can go to the cops or whatever, and you can complain about double parked cars, but probably the outcome will be that it will be no longer tolerated, and everybody will get a ticket if they double park their car, which I think you'll upset some people, but it's just a thought. And if I can make one comment with what Beverly was talking about, I mean, I think the building has to take some ownership of their packages. I mean, we live in a day and an age where everything is delivered. The buildings weren't designed with special rooms with locks, but this is an investment buildings have to have with the ongoing delivery service. So we had to accommodate. We have our laundry on the ground floor, and we have a locked door. And, most of the time when we see the delivery packages come in, they come in all day because you have UPS, you have Postal Service, and you have Amazon, you have private delivery. If we see them, we open the door, they drop the packages in, and then we close the door behind them. But if nobody's around and they come in, they leave them in the lobby. And I think that there's an ownership of the building. You have to address that also. And maybe your building has done something, but you didn't mention it. So that's why I'm mentioning it.
So did your landlord build a particular spot for you to put your packages in so they don't go into the lobby?
Years ago, before I got here, they made the laundry room off the lobby just to be easily accessible because the basement wasn't. So in that space, it's our mail room. We did pay for it. We have our mailboxes in there, and it used to have an open door, but now we have a locked door with the key fob. So
okay, well, landlord won't. That's where we are.
All right. Okay. So, all right, but thank you for that comment, and it's something definitely, I think, Dante, again, we can discuss it offline in terms of options that we see in terms of that. All right, it looks like my video might have blinked out.
You're muted, and your video is fine.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are now going to move on. Thank you very much for the report. We are now going to move on to the report of the chair. All right, I'm going to try and keep my comments very brief because I think a lot of the things that I probably would discuss have been mentioned either in reports or either in the committee reports or by the district manager's report. But first of all, I just want to begin by thanking again everyone for your hard work over the last year. It's been an honor and privilege to be able to serve as chair of Community Board 9, and even more so because I think it's palpable everywhere I go. The energy that I receive being a member of this board is way different from what I could say we were 3 or 4 years ago. And that's really all due to you. So I thank everyone for your work, for your support, the way you approach issues, and for your passion for the people of this district. Just a couple of quick points. One of the things that I think we're very proud of with respect to the board and the way the leadership position is taken is with respect to the response to the associated closing. So we had, in partnership with a number of other of the elected officials, worked with Grow NYC to establish the farm stand. The farm stand has been every Friday for the last few weeks over right in front of the old associated spot. And it's been extremely successful beyond any expectation we could have had to begin with. And again, I want to thank the board for backing it. I want to thank the community for supporting it. And I'm very happy to say that Grow NYC, they have secured additional funding, so they will be able to come back next year and do it again. And when I say next year, I think very early next year, we may be able to see some additional food offerings from them in the beginning of the new year. But they've been a fantastic partner. They've really come out and they've helped. And the board is continuing to look for additional opportunities in which we can help to mitigate some of the impact of losing the supermarket associated until it comes back. So there'll be additional updates as developments come with that. I want to thank the nomination committee for all of your hard work. You came together very quickly and you were able to do the canvas and you put the work together and you learned about the process. I will say that I am definitely looking forward to next month. And I'm looking forward to there is a member out there who is going to step up and take on that leadership role. It is important work. It's critical work for this board. And I see no lack or shortage of talent of people who can actually do this work. So I'm looking forward to next month. We'll be able to continue the process, continue with the nominations, and actually have elections coming up, which is a segue. I've sent it out to board members. One of the things that we will need to do as part of the election process, and this is, there is an assumption that we are going to make as well. If we are going to continue working remotely or virtually as a board, one of the things we would need to do is actually have an amendment to the bylaws, which would authorize us to do electronic meetings and electronic voting. As currently written, our bylaws do not allow for electronic voting. They only contemplate paper ballots, which would mean that we're meeting in person. So one of the things that what I've done is we sent out text for proposed amendment that will actually probably have to change because our time frame is going to change with respect to the election. And also, I think we also need to get, I think we also are waiting to see a little bit what happens with respect to the state legislature and the governor, if they are going to authorize an extension of virtual meetings. But should those things happen, one of the things we will be doing is voting as a board in terms of voting to allow the electronic meeting and electronic voting, so that way we're covered in terms of being in compliance with our own bylaws. And this really goes back, and I think the final point that I wanted to discuss was a resolution that we put out, and I apologize for the lateness of it, but it's something that the timing has been very thrown off between, we have an abbreviated month this month with the holiday season. But the resolution that has been distributed to the board and should be available on the website as well, ultimately calls for an extension of the authorization for virtual meetings. We all have heard the news. We see the reports. We hear about spikes. We hear about the rise in infections. We hear about the rises in hospitalization. Death rates have definitely dropped, but it has not stopped. So the COVID-19 pandemic is still very much with us. And with that being said, I think that on the one hand, it was very hopeful, perhaps it was hopeful and overly optimistic to say that we would be in a position in January to go back to in-person meetings. Even in my own work situation, we've had to shut down my office because of COVID outbreaks. I think it's only responsible for us to look out for the welfare of our board members and our community and advocate in this instance for the extension of virtual meetings, at least for some time, for the foreseeable future, so that way we can continue doing the work without disruption and at the same time not jeopardize anyone's health. So I put out a resolution. Dante, would you be able to put that up for the board and for the public?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Thank you. And while that's coming up, and again, I apologize for the timing of it as well, but with an abbreviated month and with this legislation actually getting ready to expire by January 15th, I think it's important for us as a board to make sure that we are on the record in terms of where we stand with respect to this. Okay, so I do see it on the board. I'm going to try and read through it very quickly for the benefit of those who haven't seen it before. So the resolution is, whereas one of the functions of a community board is to cooperate with, consult, assist, and advise any public officer, agency, local administrators of agencies, legislative body, or the borough president with respect to any matter relating to the welfare of the district and its residents. And whereas the pandemic has persisted and the governor of New York declared a state of emergency in anticipation of the imminent arrival of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. And whereas a still significant portion of the population remains unvaccinated and boosters may become a necessity for acceptable levels of immunity. And whereas spikes in infection rates raise concerns over the local healthcare infrastructure becoming overburdened. And whereas the Delta variant and the potential for increasing prevalence of the Omicron variant create additional uncertainty with respect to the board's ability to safely conduct in-person meetings. And whereas legislation S.5001/A.4001, which allowed for community boards and other public bodies to continue to meet virtually, is set to expire on January 15th, 2022. And whereas the community boards have demonstrated the capacity to function virtually while providing open access to board and committee meetings and hearings. And whereas community boards in Brooklyn have generally reported increased attendance of board members and the general public on virtual meeting platforms. Therefore, it is resolved, Brooklyn Community Board 9 is in support of the extension of the provisions in legislation S.5001/A4.4001, which allows for the option of virtual meetings. It is resolved that Brooklyn Community Board 9 urges the state legislature and the governor to amend the open meetings law to allow for the option of virtual meetings. It is also resolved that the mayor of the city of New York and the city council allocate additional funding to community boards for the purpose of expanding their capacity to support fully virtual and hybrid meetings. So this proposal is before us this month. That concludes my report for this month. I have this one action item, the adoption of this resolution. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
I have it moved by Nicholas Almanor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Beverly Newsom. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any readiness? Any questions?
No, because this is just a letter we're sending to the governor, correct?
Right. This is going to be an actual resolution adopted by the board. We're going to send it to all of our elected officials as well as the state legislature and the governor. Correct.
Right. Asking them to be on board with it. All right. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see it from this view. Dante, Mia, do you see any other questions from board members?
I have a question, Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Would this resolution allow us to, let's say the state doesn't agree to continue with virtual meetings after January 15th, what predicament would we find ourselves in?
Unfortunately, per the open meetings law, we would be required to meet in person. So we would have to try and find sufficient space in the district to accommodate social distancing. Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, it would become a matter of we would be forced to go to meetings. With that being said, I truly believe it is unsafe to do so. So I really believe that we would have to explore other options in terms of we need to do something else because it's going to be, to me, it's too dangerous. I think it's too dangerous for conversation.
Sure, that's helpful. And then if they did extend it beyond January 15th, the opportunity to meet virtually, would we need a resolution, this resolution, in order to continue to do so? Or are we able to continue to do so as long as the state says that we can after January 15th?
Well, this resolution is simply a policy piece. It's a position piece that the board will be putting out. As a community board, we're advisory, so it's not binding on anyone. But this is just simply our position that we're putting forward to the public and to the elected officials in terms of how we feel with respect to this.
But I think we would need a resolution if we were to vote, right? Because of
for the votes, well, that's a separate issue. So then, for the actual voting piece, that's where the amendment, the other document, the amendment will come into play, where we would need to have that amendment in order for us to be able to actually do the electronic meeting and the electronic voting. So the amendment is actually the second or third one that we've actually done since the pandemic has started. And mainly it's because it's, we can't, I'm sorry. There is no change in the open meetings law. The open meetings law calls for in-person meetings. Because the law was suspended, that gave us the opportunity to do that, but we've amended our bylaws a couple of times at this point, so that we could actually take advantage of that in terms of make sure we were able to do that. We wouldn't be able to permanently amend our bylaws until the open meetings law is amended to say that, yes, it's actually legal, we can do that. So unfortunately, we have to keep doing these continuing amendments until something happens with the open meetings law where we could actually just say, we change it one last time to say that it's authorized or whatever the new status would be with the OML.
That makes sense.
All right, are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to call the question. So for all those board members, yeah, thank you, Dante. So for all those board members who are in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. I hear a majority. Are there any members who wish to vote no at this time? Please say your name for the record.
Amy.
Okay, Ms. Pinkerton, we note you as a no. Are there any members of the board who wish to vote against the resolution at this time? Okay, I see Ms. Nick Pinkerton as a no for the record. Are there any members who wish to abstain from the vote at this time? Is there any members who wish to abstain from the vote at this time? I ask you to please call out your name for the record. Hearing no abstentions, I would direct the temporary secretary to please note all those in favor, although, with the exception of those who voted no or abstained. The motion carries, the resolution is approved. The resolution is going to be forwarded to the elected officials and all of the stakeholders in the community with respect to this position. I want to thank the board for your consideration of this. Okay, so that is all I have with respect to that. The bylaws amendment will be considered and it's going to depend again on the timing, depending on if the extension is authorized and on the timing of when we're actually going to have the election. So the draft that you're seeing will probably be modified. That'll probably be considered by the executive committee and in time for the January board meeting. At this time, we're going to move on. We're going to go on to the voting items. I have one voting item at this time, which is the SLA application. At this time, I would ask the Chair of Public Safety. So for the record, so you said that the committee did not have quorum, so they were not able to vote on the matter, correct?
Correct.
Okay. At this time, are there any, well, we're not going to discuss nothing. Do I have a motion at this time to approve the application?
Hey, it's Warren. I
Yes, Warren.
did have a request before, but I withdraw it and let's move on.
Thank you very much. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the application though?
Yeah, I motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the application by member Shlomo Hecht.
No, Yankee Pearson.
Oh, Yankee,
Yeah.
Yankee? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, by member Yankee Pearson. Do I have a second?
I think Shlomo has a second.
I'm sorry, who's the second?
Second, Rosemary.
I have a second by Rosemary Evering. Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, are there any questions? Well, again, are there any questions at this time on the motion? Okay,
Hi,
I
good
see
evening.
member.
There are no questions on our end, but we did just want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much. We appreciate the board's time and the consideration, and Mr. Fritzner looks forward to having everybody at the establishment as soon as we're open for delicious food. Thank you so, so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harris. I do see actually one question from a board member, Suki.
This is a question for the committee. Have you considered the impact of open restaurants and, you know, did you consider any are you considering any stipulations for applicants in light of that? Because the rules for open restaurants are different than what we're used to dealing with. Like, for example, outdoor normal rules are that outdoor sidewalk cafes are not allowed to have amplified music, but that goes out the window with open restaurants. And then, you know, it also increases potentially the number of seats that a restaurant can have, in some cases significantly, which is something that we look at as well. And then, of course, there's the parking issue. If you're, you know, if it's not a metered parking area to begin with, there's community members that are losing parking, and, you know, you potentially, like, it's not just an issue of liquor license saturation, but, you know, if there's already numerous, you know, dining sheds on the street, there are some blocks in Manhattan that are completely, you know, that have like no parking left whatsoever. So is this something that we can have stipulations about?
I think that's a very good point.
Well, actually, hold on. Yeah, I think actually they're two separate things, because the restaurant sheds, that's separate from and apart from the liquor license, because you don't even need to have a liquor license to have the restaurant shed. So
I mean, like
if he decides to open,
at the moment, we just don't have any control over what happens with open restaurants, other than saying no to a liquor license, if you know what I mean. Like,
Well,
that's
first of all, I think Chair Baptiste answered it correctly, that regardless of whether we approve the liquor license, that will not affect whether or not they can have an open restaurant. But I think you are making a valid point. I think maybe we should reach out to the city and discuss. We have areas where we feel that it's really affecting the parking. It doesn't just affect the residents, it affects the businesses on a main street that has restaurants that are now, you know, open restaurants. So anybody who wants to go to the grocery or to the supermarket it has no way of now taking, elders that are driving to supermarkets or taking Access-a-Ride have no way of taking the food home, really. And I think those are all valid points. I'm not sure, Shuki, where do you get this from, that if you have an open restaurant, there's no limitations on music outside? It's possible, I'm not aware of that. I don't know that to be the case. And again, I don't know. It's not necessarily relevant to the liquor license, but just as a matter of a fact or information, if you could just clarify where you're getting that from and whether that is in case of law.
Well, hold on. I'm sorry, I have to interject. At this time, that's a conversation that's best had within the committee setting. So, I mean, if that's something that, you know, Rabbi Berman, if you want to bring that up as an agenda item. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Suki, please, if there's any information, please make sure we share that with the district office and the public.
You can share with the board office.
Yeah, definitely. Because
okay, thank you.
This is a huge issue at Manhattan community boards.
Oh no, absolutely. All right. Okay, so going back to the question. So are there any questions with respect to the application, to the motion I had to approve the application? Okay, seeing none, we're going to call the question. All those in favor of the motion to approve the application, please say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Are there any members in opposition? If so, please state your name for the record.
Beverly in opposition.
Thank you very much, Ms. Newsom. I see Ms. Newsom in opposition. Are there any other members in opposition? Call again. Are there any other members in opposition? Please state your name. Seeing none, are there any members at this time who wish to abstain? Please state your name for the record.
This is Sue-Ann Chung. I'm abstaining.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chung. Ms. Chung is noted as an abstention. Is there anyone else who wishes to abstain at this time? Call for a final time. Is there anyone who wishes to abstain at this time? Okay, Seeing none, I see one abstention. I'm sorry, I see one no vote, one abstention. The motion carries. The application is approved. To the applicant, we will be forwarding the appropriate documentation to the State Liquor License Authority, and we wish you luck in your endeavor.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. At this time, we are now going to go on. Okay. At this time, we're going to go to old business. Is there any old business for the board to consider at this time? Okay. Seeing none. Is there any new business for the board at this time?
Hey, it's Warren. I
Yes,
just want to note that the community board is having a proclamation ceremony tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Friday. And that's to thank the coalition that put Grow New York City in our community. So if any community board members could be there.
Warren, your mic is a little bit muffled.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Warren, did we lose you?
Slimy, slippery quality to the raw crab meat. Fantastic. Some people do it up like, oh,
Okay. All right. Well, just to take off on that, I think if we get Warren back, he'll finish the thought. But again, I think during my chairman's report, I had mentioned that Grow NYC has been a phenomenal partner. One of the things that I think, we should be doing as a board, and that's one of the functions that it's our responsibility, is to make sure we're recognizing partners, we're recognizing great work that gets done. So one of the things we have done is we are issuing a citation on behalf of the board to Grow NYC for the work that they've done with respect to rapid deployment. They went out and they found the funding. They've come and they staffed in rain, cold, sun and everything, and they've really been fantastic partners. So tomorrow at 3 p.m., I believe. No, actually a little bit before that. I think about 2:45. At 7 a.m.?
11 a.m.
Oh, at 11 a.m. My apologies. At 11 a.m., we will be giving a citation to Grow NYC for all the phenomenal work they've been doing and being great partners. This is the direction that our board is going in. We are doing those things that a board should do. We recognize, we create partnerships, we do collaborations, we're engaged with our elected officials. This is what is exciting about CB9. I already know we have the best district, we have the best people, we have so much talent, we have so much diversity, and it's just a privilege and something that makes me happy to be able to do these things. Warren, are you back on? Did you have anything you wanted to say, or? Okay.
Yes, I'm back on, and you said it all, Fred.
Thank you very much.
Right.
So we are going to conclude. I want to thank everyone. Oh, yes, go ahead.
If any members can make it over by 11 o'clock, would be wonderful. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Okay. And with that, we are going to close. This is our final meeting for 2021. It's been a rough year, but we've made it. We've made it this far, and I'm looking forward to working with everyone to continuing to move CB9 and moving our district forward. I thank everyone for your support throughout these last couple of years as chair. And I wish you and your families a happy holiday season. And I wish you all the best health, prosperity in 2022. With that said, at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second the
Oh, no one
motion.
wants to leave.
I second the
I have the
motion.
motion. I have a motion by Minor Lagute, and who's the second?
I'll second it. I'll finish it out.
Okay, Yankee Pearson is going to take us on
No,
here.
Shlomo Heck, you got to mix up there.
So,
Yeah, we adjusted Yankee.
oh, okay.
They're good now.
My apologies. Shlomo, we got you down as the second. Okay. We got it now. We got it. All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, sounds like a majority to me.
Holidays.
Happy
We stand
holidays.
adjourned.
God
Time is
bless you
9:08
all.
p.m. Take care,
Happy
Sabina.
holidays. Be safe, get vaccinated.
Take care. Yes, yes.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.